Lord Chesterfield's letters to his son. September 29th, 1746, Bath. Dear boy, I received by the last mail your letter of the 23rd from Heidelberg, and am very well pleased to find that you inform yourself of the particulars of the several places you go through. You do mighty right to see the curiosities in these several places, such as the Golden Bull at Frankfurt and the Tun at Heidelberg, etc. Other travelers see them and talk of them. It is very proper to see them too, but remember that seeing is the least material object of traveling. Hearing and knowing are the essential points. Therefore, pray let your inquiries be chiefly directed to the knowledge of the constitution and particular customs of the places where you either reside at or pass through, whom and they belong to, by what right and tenure, and since when in whom the supreme authority is lodged, and by what magistrates and in what manner the civil and the criminal justice is administered. It is likewise necessary to get as much acquaintance as you can in order to observe the characters and manners of the people. For though human nature is in truth the same through the whole human species, yet it is so differently modified and varied by education, habit, and different customs, that one should upon a slight and superficial observation almost think it different. As I have never been in Switzerland myself, I must desire you to inform me now and then of the constitution of that country. As for instance, do the 13 cantons jointly and collectively form one government, where the supreme authority is lodged, or is each canton sovereign in itself and under no tie or constitutional obligation of acting in common concert with the other cantons? Can any one canton make war or alliance with a foreign power without the consent of the other 12, or at least the majority of them? Can one canton declare war against another? If every canton is sovereign and independent in itself, whom is the supreme power of the canton lodged? It is in one man. Is it in one man or in a certain number of men? If in one man, what is he called? If in a number, what are they called? Senate, council, or what? I do not suppose that you can yet know these things yourself, but a very little inquiry of those who do will enable you to answer me these few questions in your next. You see, I am sure the necessity of knowing these things thoroughly, and consequently the necessity of conversing much with the people of the country, who alone can inform you rightly, whereas most of the English who travel converse only with each other, and consequently know no more when they return to England than they did when they left. This proceeds from the maras haut, which makes them ashamed of going into company, and frequently too from the want of necessary language, French, to enable them to bear their part in it. As for the mauvaise haute, I hope you are above it. Your figure is like other people's. I suppose you will take care that your dress shall be so too, and to avoid any singularity. What then should you be ashamed of, and why not go into a mixed company with as much ease and as little concern as you would do into your own country? Vice and ignorance are the only things I know which one ought to be ashamed of. Keep but clear of them, and you may go anywhere without fear of concern. I have known some people who, from feeling the pain and the inconveniences of their mauvaise haute, have rushed into the other extreme and turned impudent, as cowards sometimes grow desperate from the excess of danger. But this too is careful to be avoided, there being nothing more generally shocking than impudence. The medium between these two extremes marks out the well-bred man. He feels himself firm and easy in all companies. In modest is modest without being bashful, and steady without being impudent. If he is a stranger, he observes with care the manners and ways of the people the most esteemed at that place, and conforms to them with compliance. Instead of finding fault with the customs of that place and telling the people that the English ones are 1,000 times better, as my countrymen are apt to do, he commends their table. He commends their table, their dress, their houses, and their manners a little more, it may be, than he really thinks they deserve. But this degree of complacence is neither criminal nor or abject, and is but a small price to pay for the goodwill and affection of the people the people you converse with. As the generality of people are weak enough to be placed with these little things, those who refuse to please them so cheaply are, in my mind, weaker than they. There is a very pretty little French book written by l'Abbé de Bellegarde entitled The Art de Parler dans la Conversation, and though I confess that it is impossible to reduce the art of pleasing to a system, yet this book is not wholly useless. I dare say you might get it at Geneva, if not at Lausanne, and I would advise you to read it. But this principle I will lay out, that the desire of pleasing is at least half the art of doing it, and the rest depends only upon the manner which attention, observation, and frequently good company will teach. But if you are lazy, careless, and indifferent, whatever you please or do, depend upon it, you never will please. This letter is insensibly grown too long, but as I always flatter myself that my experiences may be of some use to your youth and inexperience, I throw it out as it occurs to me, and shall continue to do so, everything that I think may be of the best advantage to you in this important and decisive period of your life. God preserve you. P.S. I am much better, and shall leave this place soon.